All right, guys, we have big brand new updates for the $2,000 stimulus checks from Joe Biden. Representative Hakeem Jeffries, who was asked specifically about whether or not they will be picking up the $2,000 check package and passing it again in the new Congress. And his answer was very straightforward. These are all very important updates, and most of it rides on the Georgia Senate runoff elections tomorrow. So let's start with Joe Biden's speech during a rally tonight in Georgia.
Electing John and the Reverend, you can make an immediate difference in your own lives, the lives of the people all across this country, because their election will put an end to the block in Washington, that $2,000 stimulus check. That money that will go out the door immediately. Tell people who are in real trouble. Think about what it'll mean to your lives. Putting food on the table, paying rent, paying for your mortgage, paying down the credit card, paying the phone bill, the gas bill, the electric bill. Just look around. Millions of people in this country out of work through no fault of their own. No fault of their own. They're struggling. Many are fearful, and many have given up hope. Look at the lines at food banks. Hours and hours and hours. This is the United States of America, for God's sake. And there's food lines like we've not seen since the Depression. And they're getting longer. Families, children, people have worked their whole lives and never asked for a thing except a fighting chance. Now, they're lining up for food in America. And the debate over $2,000 isn't some abstract debate in Washington. It's about real lives. Your lives, the lives of good, hard-working Americans. And if you're like millions of Americans all across this country, you need the money, you need the help, and you need it now. Look, Georgia, there's no one in America with more power to make that happen than you, the citizens of Atlanta, the citizens of Georgia. And that's not an exaggeration, that's literally true. If you send John and the Reverend to Washington, those $2,000 checks will go out the door, restoring hope and decency and honor for so many people who are struggling right now. And if you send Senators Perdue and Loeffler back to Washington, those checks will never get there. It's just that simple. The power is literally in your hands.
So whether you like the man or not, what he said is true. I really believe that if Democrats take the Senate, it will be a much easier path for the third stimulus check. Joe Biden said this will put an end to the blocking in Washington for the $2,000 checks. Of course, he means Mitch McConnell here, because honestly, if McConnell just put the Cash Act on the floor for a vote in the Senate, it would have passed. I really think we had enough Republican votes to get it done, but he had all the power to stop that. Now, I'm not saying that if Democrats take the Senate, it will be guaranteed, but it will be very, very close to being guaranteed. I'd say close to about a 90% chance of getting another stimulus package passed quickly. Now let me show you a video from a press conference where Representative Hakeem Jeffries was asked that what are they going to do with the $2,000 stimulus checks in the new Congress.
Last question.
You had passed the $2,000 checks in the last Congress. Do you have any plans to pass the $2,000 checks in this Congress, either before or after January 20th?
Well, we have to pass the rules package today so that our committees can be constituted and we can actually begin to move bills to the floor of the United States House of Representatives. I anticipate that that will happen. Once that occurs, we can begin the process of addressing substantive legislation. Joe Biden has been clear that the coronavirus relief package that was passed at the end of the preceding Congress is just a down payment on the type of relief that we need to provide to the American people on a going forward basis. It remains to be seen from the administration's perspective whether that includes $2,000 relief checks. From my perspective, I think that's unfinished business that should be continued as part of our effort to provide additional relief to the American people. The coronavirus relief package was meant as a short-term intervention for the first few months of the year. And let's see where we're at in terms of how we move forward in the context of the impact that the pandemic continues to have on everyday Americans.
So he was clear that it is unfinished business and they should pick it up and pass it again. And he touched on something that Problem Solvers Caucus and the bipartisan group of senators said before about the $900 billion package that just passed. They said many times that this is supposed to get us through the first quarter or the first few months of the year until we get another package. So I think we will definitely see a third stimulus package with a third stimulus check, especially if Democrats take the Senate. And speaking of the Senate, Senator Lindsey Graham has been one of the most vocal Republicans about supporting a $2,000 stimulus check, especially as a standalone bill. He tweeted saying this: "With all due respect to my Republican colleagues, a $2,000 direct payment for individuals and families who are struggling is not socialism. In my view, it is necessary in the times in which we live. The country is being overwhelmed by the virus, hospitals are full, and businesses are hanging by a thread. Direct payments may not be the most efficient way to help people in need, but given the situation we face, are extremely necessary. Going from $600 to $2,000 doesn't make you a socialist. Mr. President, keep fighting for the American people who are suffering. Insist on a standalone vote." So he's a big supporter of a standalone vote for $2,000 checks. Now finally, I'm sure you know by now that Nancy Pelosi won the votes to be the Speaker of the House. It was a very, very narrow margin between her and Kevin McCarthy, but she ended up getting 216 votes and McCarthy got 208 votes. You need 214 votes to win. I just want to play a small part of her speech where she talks about stimulus.
Our most urgent priority will continue to be defeating the coronavirus. And defeat it, we will. And defeat it, we will. 2 weeks ago, we passed an emergency relief package to crush the virus and put money in the pockets of workers and families, which is now the law. But we must do more to recognize our heroes. Let us thank our heroes, our healthcare workers, our first responders, our police and fire, whom we have denied support by denying help to state and local government, our transportation, sanitation, food and social workers, and our teachers, our teachers, our teachers. They make our lives possible at the state and local level and will facilitate the distribution of the vaccine in a fair and equitable manner. We owe them more. Many of our essential workers are from communities of color and low wealth, they which have been devastatingly and disproportionately affected by the coronavirus. They have been there for us. We must be there for them. With President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Harris, who were elected 2 months ago from today, the House will continue our work to save lives and livelihood, to build back better in a way that advances justice in America.
So yeah, she says her famous words, crush the virus, and she says we need to honor our heroes with state and local aid. So let's not forget that there are still 2 other things that need to happen here. Liability protections that the Republicans need and state and local funding that the Democrats need. So those will be negotiated soon as well, and we'll see if they'll be bundled with the stimulus checks or what is going to happen. So there's a lot riding on the Senate elections in Georgia, which will really determine what we're going to get. I think that either way, there will be some sort of another stimulus package, but if the Democrats win, it will definitely be a bigger package. That's the latest updates we have about the $2,000 stimulus checks. What do you guys think? Is it going to happen? Are we going to get a third stimulus check? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you all. Please hit the like button on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and click that notifications bell to be notified whenever I publish new videos for you. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video.